Hello, my name is Neve Byrne. I'm a women's health physiotherapist from maternityphysio.co.uk. I also work in East London in a clinic called Fix. I'm a mum of three boys and I'm passionate about helping women maintain optimum pelvic health during pregnancy, after pregnancy, and beyond. Today I'm going to talk to you about the pelvic floor and the pelvis and how to maintain optimum pelvic floor health as you continue on your journey. So the pelvic floor muscles are a group of muscles that sit in the base of our pelvis. So this is our pelvis here, the front, the pubic joint, and the sacrum here at the back. So the pelvic floor muscles have two layers. They have a deep layer known as the levator ani and a more superficial layer here in front that you can see when you look at your vagina and perineum. So their main role is to support. So they span from the coccyx here, the tailbone, all the way to the pubic bone at the front and out to the hips. And because they're shaped like a bowl, they help to support things. So they support our bladder and our rectum and our uterus and our baby and the placenta. So that's why it's shaped like that at the base. It has three openings. So you've got the back passage. Let's show you from this side. The anal opening or the back passage is here. The vagina and the urethra just in front there. So its other main role is to keep us continent. So how do you know if you're doing a pelvic floor contraction correctly? So that's a question I get asked a lot in clinic. So now that you know what it looks like and where it is, it kind of gives you an idea of where to contract from. So if you think about closing the holes, so kind of gathering in around your back passage like you want to hold in wind, and continuing that to the vagina and the front like you want to hold in urine, then you're probably contracting your pelvic floor muscles correctly. So I think it's nice to do it quite gently, so not to grip or squeeze it too hard, just in case other muscles start to take over, like our abs or our glutes, or sometimes our inner thighs will try to grip on. So do it quite gently, so you can kind of feel what's happening. The pelvic floor sits at the base. Our diaphragm sits at the top of our core canister, and then we've got our tummy muscles here in front. So our diaphragm and our pelvic floor are best buddies. So every time we breathe in and out, they move up and down together. As we inhale, the pelvic floor moves down with the pelvic floor, with the diaphragm, and then as we exhale, they both move upwards. So as we do a pelvic floor contraction, we try to contract it or gather it as we exhale and then relax it back down as we inhale. And then trying to continue that for a few breaths, so lifting as you breathe out, relaxing it as you breathe in, and then maybe try to throw in some holds, so gather the pelvic floor in as you exhale, and then maintain that gathering, that contraction as you breathe for a few breaths. And then maybe add in some quick ones as well, so on, off contractions of the pelvic floor. And then repeat all of that again, the normal holds, the long holds, the quick ones, until the pelvic floor feels fatigued. So during pregnancy, I recommend that women do that at least once a day, just to maintain good pelvic floor health. And then as soon as you've had your delivery, whether it be vaginally or C-section, you continue to start that again. So as I mentioned to you earlier, it acts like a supportive muscle. So what does it support? We've got a bladder here, and then I've got my uterus here with the vagina, which is this tube-like structure. So the bladder sits in front of the vagina, just under the uterus. And then at the back of the vagina, we have the rectum here, like this. So that's how they are arranged inside our pelvis. And those three holes, the rectum, vagina, and urethra, would correspond to the three holes that you see in there. So they sit like that, nice and snug inside of our pelvis. So what are the signs that our pelvic floor muscles aren't happy or working as efficiently as they could be? Leaking is one of those signs. So leaking urine maybe during the day, or when you sneeze or cough, or maybe don't quite make it to the toilet on time. Pain is another sign of pelvic floor dysfunction. So if you're getting pain during sex and that's ongoing, it might be a sign that the pelvic floor muscles are too tight. Heaviness inside, so a feeling of heaviness in the vagina can be a symptom of prolapse, which is when the pelvic floor or the pelvic organs sit a little bit lower than usual inside the pelvis, or maybe not emptying our bladder properly. So we go for a wee and then we kind of think, I could go again 10 minutes later. That can be another sign that the bladder might be sitting a little bit lower than usual inside the pelvis. And that's when pelvic floor rehabilitation or your pelvic floor exercises come in handy to help support those organs from below. So if you have any of those signs, that is what I'd advise you to do. And if you're struggling, you can see a women's health physiotherapist like myself. So how do you find a women's health physio in your area? Well, you can go to your GP and ask the GP to refer you to your NHS Women's Health Service. There's also the Mummy MOT practitioner register, which you can check on mummymot.com for a Mummy MOT person in your area. You can also check the Squeezy app website as well. They have a register of women's health physios in your area. Or the csp.org website has a find a physio function, and you can put in women's health as a speciality and it'll show you where they are in your area too. So thank you for listening. I hope you feel a bit more empowered and you know a little bit more about your pelvic floor and those signs that it might not be working as efficiently as you'd like.